A very good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time away from your busy schedule to attend today's AD Self Service Plus workshop series. I am Sharda, product expert in ManageEngine AD Self Service Plus, and I am going to be your presenter for today. I hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If not, please let me know immediately in the chat box provided. All right, so quickly jumping into today's session. This ADSelfService Plus workshop series is a 5-day session, and we are going to be talking about getting started working with ADSelfService Plus, all the way down to discussing the configuration of every single feature that you work with using ADSelfService Plus, which helps you manage your Active Directory password environment. So the first session is going to be on empowering Active Directory users with self-service password management. So I'm sure most of the organizations still make use of Windows Active Directory or stick to the Windows logon environment. And we are very well aware that password management is a little bit cumbersome when it comes to the native setup because users do not have the provision to self-service their own password. And talking about the disadvantages of not having self-service in the native setup is that users have to contact the help desk calls to go through password reset process, to go through account unlocks. And that is exactly why we're looking at a solution like AD Self-Service Plus, which simply helps us improve the experience that we offer to the end users with respect to password management for your Windows environment. So that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to discuss empowering Active Directory users with self-service password management. And a very exciting news is that you can go about and work with AD Self-Service Plus during the session itself. Yes, you can log into the setup that has been sent to you via the chat box. So please access your chat message. You can access the AD Self-Service Plus workshop setup with the credentials that has been pinged to you. And if you have any questions during the session, please keep them coming. We have a dedicated team of product experts answering your queries. And you can also explore AD Self-Service Plus simultaneously as I go forward with talking about password self-service. And you can also reserve your questions towards the end of the session. The last 10 minutes will be a dedicated question and answer session. But please keep your questions coming because we are here to improve your experience of using AD Self-Service Plus much better. So thank you once again, and quickly jumping into the agenda, we are going to be talking about empowering users to reset their Active Directory passwords. Yes, we are going to let users reset their own Active Directory password. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but the recent Gartner report came out which said that almost 40% of the help desk calls that an organization receives is because of password management troubles, which means with the help of a solution like AD Self-Service Plus, we are talking about completely eliminating the 40% of the help desk calls by taking a simple first step by empowering users to take care of their own password self-service actions. And this we're talking about is not only in your native Windows environment, but also across multiple applications, which we will discuss in the forthcoming sessions. Moving on, we're going to be talking about strengthening the password reset process. So we support multi-factor authentication methods right from the verification code, RSA SecurID, Duo Security, Radius Authentication, the Google Authenticator, and the latest being your AD Self-Service Plus mobile app authentication, which is authenticating your password reset process, user's password reset process with the help of a mobile application. So we're going to be talking about all that shortly. We're also going to see how to customize policies or how to set up policies based on Active Directory OUs and groups. So why is this important? This is important because we need to ensure that the right user has an access or restrict access to certain features for certain users. And this can be achieved from the AD Self-Service Plus portal by creating self-service policies. Thereby, I control the access to features, applications, or the self-service actions that a user goes through with the help of the OUs and groups present in the Active Directory. Also, you as an administrator can keep track of all that is going on in your Windows password management environment right under the reports tab. You can also be alerted about end users password self-service actions via email. And by this way, once you keep track of all that's going on in your environment, you're sure going to lead a much better stress-free life when it comes to password management, and also focus on more critical tasks and more critical um, work that is required in your environment, and not waste time on petty password related help desk calls. So on that note, I am going to quickly jump into the AD Self-Service Plus Password Self-Service Management Portal. So what you see on your screens is a new setup, is a fresh setup. So I'm sure Karthik would have shared the link to your workshop, AD Self-Service Plus workshop set up as well. So this is basically where you can explore AD Self-Service Plus from your end. You can log in with the given credentials. Let me repeat that once again for you. The username is ADSSP and the password is workshop with W as an uppercase. So I recommend you to log in and explore AD Self-Service Plus as I'm going through today's workshop. So yes, what I'm going to do now is log in as an administrator. And the first step that I'm asked to do, the first step that I'm required to do is add my domain details. So I am going to configure my domain settings right now. So quickly discovering my domain controller. The domain name that I'm working with is SSP Workshop. This is my domain controller. And I am going to authenticate my identity to go forward with completing the configuration. So yes, I have successfully configured my domain settings, and it is a very simple process. This domain is set as the default domain. You can go back and make changes. You can update the objects and also delete it if you do not require the domain anymore. Also, you can add multiple domains by hitting this particular option, and the procedure is pretty simple. All right, so before I jump into the configuration setup, I'm going to show you the dummy organizational unit that I've created. So I've created an OU in my ADUC under my name, that is Sharda, and I've created sub-organizational units trying to replicate an organizational structure. So what you see is admin, finance, and HR, and I've sorted users into each of these organizational units. So this is how we're going to be working around. Jumping into the configuration tab in my AD Self-Service Plus admin portal. Under self-service is what you see as the policy configuration. By default, the entire policy is given access to all the self-service actions. But what I'm going to do now is choose self-service policies based on OUs and groups present in my Active Directory. So I am going to stick to OUs today. I'm going to create a self-service policy under the name admin for users belonging to the Active Directory organizational unit admin. So this is going to keep things easy for me to remember. I'm going to add two other policies to include the other users as well. So choosing users under the OU HR, and then finally finance. All right, I'm almost done there, adding self-service policies specific to groups and OUs present in my Active Directory. So the next step that I'm going to do is first have a look at the reports tab. Yes, once you've configured your domain, you already have reports generated right here. So what I'm going to do now is have a look at the soon to expire password users report to get an idea of which user's password is going to expire when. So I already have a couple of users listed right here. I can customize the reports tab available. What I'm going to do now is look at the days to password expiry to get an idea of the users who are required to change or update their password at the earliest. So you can see that the user Adam has 1 day for his password to expire. So now let's have a look at the end user's perspective. You as an administrator can notify Adam about resetting his password well in advance to avoid a password expiry. So what Adam would do is try and log into the domain user login from the ADSelfService Plus portal. And that is exactly what I'm doing right now. And once Adam is successfully logged in for the very first time, he has a message which asks him to enroll with ADSelfService Plus. So if you're wondering what enrollment is, I am sure you will get an idea right after looking into this screen. So ADSelfService Plus requires users to enroll with the application in order to go through a secure password reset operation. So by default, the security question answer is enabled as the enrollment method for all the users belonging to all the organizational units or policies that you've configured in ADSelfService Plus. So what I'm going to do right now is quickly answer these security questions for Adam. The country I've always dreamt of vacationing in and my favorite color, and hit enroll. So it is a simple, less than a minute process to enroll with the application. And the major advantage of enrolling with ADSelfService Plus is that the users are entitled to complete password self-service. So since Adam's password is going to expire in less than a day, what I'm going to do now is try and change Adam's password. I'm entering the old password and giving in the new password right here from the ADSelfService Plus portal, and this is the domain default password policy requirements displayed. But once again, ADSelfService Plus also allows you to enforce a granular password policy, about which we will be talking in the upcoming sessions. So I'm going to change the password, and yes, my password has been changed successfully. So when a user logs in for the very first time, the user is required to enroll with ADSelfService Plus. The user can also go through a change password operation at his will and can also update information into the Active Directory. So this is what we say when we're talking about self-update personal information into the Active Directory. So you as an administrator can customize this particular page. I'm going to show you a quick demo right now. What I'm going to do is update Adam's telephone number to a random series of numbers and hit update. And once the user property has been successfully updated, let's test it. I am going to ADUC and Adam's properties, and here you can see that Adam's telephone number matches with what was updated from the ADSelfService Plus portal. So the updates that we're talking about, the change password operation or the password reset operation that we're talking about, happens real time with ADSelfService Plus. All right, so talking more about change password. So this is not a great feature. Being able to change a user's password is not something great because the password is not expired. The user was intimated well in advance about his password expiry, and your domain Windows native setup also allows you to go through a password change well in advance, right? So the actual trouble is when Adam does not remember his password. When Adam does not remember the password he has changed, when Adam forgets his password, when Adam's password has expired, or when Adam's account is locked down, that is when the real trouble comes into picture. So what I'm going to do is jump back to the reports tab and take a quick look at the users whose passwords have already expired. So I am generating a list for SSP, the domain that I'm working with, and filter this for users belonging to the OU Sharada. And don't be surprised to see a big list. Yes, there are users whose passwords have expired. So in this case, let us see what happens when, say, the user Sharda tries to log in and access ADSelfService Plus. So when Sharda's password is expired, when a user's password is expired, when the user tries to log in to the ADSelfService Plus portal, or by default the Windows logon screen, through the Windows logon screen, this is what happens. This is what happens when the user remembers their old password. So the hint here is that when the user remembers the old password, there is no problem with a password reset operation. There's no problem with a change password operation. But the real trouble arises is when the user does not remember the password. The password that the user was using to log in. When the user does not remember the password is when the real trouble arises. So this is when password reset comes into picture. This is when the user can make use of the ADSelfService Plus web portal or the mobile app to be able to reset their password. So once the user hits the forgot your password link, what happens is that they're required to enter the domain username and choose the domain that they would like to log into, and the first security factor happens here, which is the captcha. And there you go. I have a message which says, you are required to enroll with security questions. Please log in if you remember your password and enroll. Contact your administrator in case you don't. So this is what I was trying to show you. I was trying to show you the importance of enrolling with ADSelfService Plus. If a user fails to enroll with ADSelfService Plus, they will not be entitled to complete password self-service. So an error message like this is once again going to lead them to a password reset help desk call. And that is what we're trying to eliminate using ADSelfService Plus. So let's see what happens if a user has enrolled with ADSelfService Plus and tries to go through a password reset operation. So I'm going to try and reset Adam's password right now. I am redirected to the multi-factor authentication page. In this case, it is the security question. I am sure you remember the answer to the questions that I just answered for the user Adam. And on answering the questions, see, this is where I go wrong all the time, and I don't like the captcha. I go wrong with the captcha all the time. It's like I'm partially blind. AS and 5, I'm going to continue. Yes, once I have gone through the secondary layer of authentication and verified my identity, I am redirected to the reset password page. So when a user is enrolled with ADSelfService Plus, the user will be entitled to complete password self-service. The user will be able to go ahead with a password reset operation. So I'm going to give in the captcha and try to reset Adam's password right now. See, this happens with me all the time. Another attempt at getting the captcha right. Reset Adam's password. Yes, Adam's password has been reset successfully. So we are talking about empowering users to reset their passwords. And the first step is ensuring that the users enroll with ADSelfService Plus. So we're going to be talking in depth about different enrollment options that ADSelfService Plus provides in the next session, which is tomorrow. But today we're going to be talking about password self-service and how you can empower or hand over the torch of password self-service to your end users. So now we went through a password self-update. We went through a self-update. We went through a password change operation for the user Adam. We also saw how on enrollment, Adam was successfully able to reset his password by hitting the forgot your password icon right here. So now the concern for us is Sharada. Sharada was not able to reset her password. Sharada does not remember her password to be able to go through a change password operation and has also not enrolled with ADSelfService Plus. But we are looking at avoiding a password reset helpdesk calls. So jumping back to the admin portal to see if we can look out for a solution. So going back to the configuration tab and heading to multi-factor authentication. So if you remember, I had mentioned that by default, security question answer is enabled. But one enrollment-free multi-factor authentication method that can be enabled is the verification code. How? How can you ensure enrollment-free authentication with the verification code? This is possible because the verification code requires you to enroll with ADSelfService Plus via your email or your mobile number, and these are Active Directory attributes that are available, or these are Active Directory attributes that can be fetched by ADSelfService Plus from your Active Directory. I am going to show you how this works to help you understand better. So for the policy admin, I am enabling verification code method of enrollment and going to save this setup. But I am required to configure my mail server in order to successfully send a verification code via email. So jumping to the admin tab and under product settings is where I can find server settings. So I am going to quickly configure my mail server settings. I am going to act as the admin here and authenticate my SMTP authentication. And go ahead and save the server settings. Yes, it has been successfully updated. I am quickly going to send a test mail to check if it works well. And I am waiting for the mail. Yes, I've got it. I've got the test mail. So yes, my mail settings is successful. And I'm going to go ahead to the configuration tab and go back to verification code for the self-service policy admin. I'm going to enable the verification code. So if you have any questions, you can always drop in a message in the questions tab that is allocated to you. So yes, I have set up the verification code method of authentication for the users belonging to admin. And what I'm going to do now is try and go ahead with a reset operation or forgot your password operation for Sharada once again. Entering the CAPTCHA and hoping I'm not wrong. Yes, I have been successfully redirected to the verification code method of authentication. I can choose my mail ID and go forward with resetting my password. So a mail has been sent to my account or mail ID, which is right here. So what I'm going to do is quickly log in as Sharada. And once I log into my mail account, I'm going to look for the verification code. Yes, I have a mail which says password reset confirmation. I also have the reset link right here, the secure reset link. And once I hit the link, I am redirected to the reset password page with a time left for this operation I can successfully reset my password, the password that I forgot, the password that I do not remember anymore, and I have been denied access to my own account, to my own Windows logon. And the password reset process is extremely simple. So what you saw right on your screens is enabling users to reset their own password. And by taking one simple step, by enabling or empowering users to go through their own password self-service action, you are saving 40% of the help desk calls. You are eliminating 40% of the password related help desk calls that you receive in your organization. And like I said, as an administrator, you can keep track of all that is going on in your environment under the reports tab. So I'm going to jump to the audit reports and hit password reset audit reports to show you the password reset operation that has been attempted. So you know that Adam and Sharda have attempted password reset operation at this particular time from this particular system, number of attempts, what type of attempt, the status. You can filter these reports. You can also export these reports. And yes, these reports are customizable too. So the same works with self-update. Let's check if Adam's self-update is available. Yes, it's a success. And we were also able to successfully give me a second there. I'm running out of power. So yes, we were also able to successfully change Adam's password. So I'm going to quickly check that as well. Yes, Adam's password has been changed at this particular time. An attempt has been made from this particular system. So with this audit report and user report, you have a complete insight into the password management activities that the user performs. Also, I'm going to show you the enrolled user report. And don't be surprised to see Sharda's name right here. So if you have a look at this, you will know that Adam has enrolled at this particular time and the last modified time and is not available for Sharda. And that is because when Sharda went through a password reset operation and authenticated her identity via the email method of verification, she is automatically pushed to the enrolled users list. So on verifying user's identity via a particular method, the user is automatically pushed to the enrolled users report list. So we are talking about how to ensure that all these non-enrolled users are ensured that they enroll with ADSelfService Plus in order to enjoy complete password self-service. So yes, we saw how to empower users to reset their Active Directory passwords. We looked at two ways of doing it. Users who remember their passwords and can go about with a change password operation. Users who do not remember their passwords and have enrolled with ADSelfService Plus went through the password reset operation from the forgot your password link by authenticating their identity by the chosen method. We also know how we can ensure that users go through an enrollment-free password reset process using the verification code method of enrollment. And I also spoke about strengthening the password reset process. So why is this important? So one of the recent surveys that I read told me that about 60% of security breaches that happened in 2017 is because of a compromised user identity or password. So when we're talking about strengthening passwords, strengthening the password login, we're talking about two-factor authentication. It is very important to also have a focus on strengthening the password reset process because faking a user's identity or misusing a user's identity is the easiest way to log in and access or to breach into a network. Misusing a user's identity is how 60% of the security breach or network hacks have happened in the past year in 2017. But on saying that, I also spoke about security questions. The security question method is not an advisable method by password experts, and that is because your favorite color or your dog's name or something like the country you dream of vacationing in are answers that can be identified from your social media, that the answers to that are known by your friends and family, and that is not recommended. That is easy to break into. So we would recommend more secure methods of authentication, and we support quite a few authentication methods, which I'm going to show you right now. So we have the default security question and answer method. And you won't believe it when I say this, this is the most widely used method of authentication, but security experts recommend not to use the security question answer. So if you're concerned about your organization's security, I would recommend you to go make use of the verification code, the Google Authenticator. We have the Duo Security, RSA SecurID, Radius Authentication, and the latest addition to ADSelfService Plus, the Mobile Authenticator. You can enable push notification, fingerprint authentication, which is the person himself. You can enable QR scanning, time-based one-time authentication, and all this happens in the user's mobile application, the device that the user owns. And ADSelfService Plus also supports multi-device authentication. So this just makes things simpler. We take care of simplicity, but at the same time, we ensure that the security is not compromised. So what I'm going to do now is quickly try and set up different authenticators for different users. For example, users belonging to admin need quite a little security. So what I'm going to do now is leave it to this, leave it to the verification code method of authentication. For HR, I'm going to stick to the basic, which is the security question answer. And for finance, what I'm going to do is enable the Google Authenticator as well, because I want to take the security to a top notch to increase the security. So I'm going to enable the Google Authenticator for users belonging to finance. Also, under the advanced setting, you can force users to enroll when they log into the ADSelfService Plus portal, which is enabled by default. That is why when Adam logged in, there was a pop-up which said, Adam, please enroll with ADSelfService Plus. You can also hide the enrollment tab for users who've already enrolled. You can enforce certain verification methods. You can also prioritize or reorder the way users go through the verification. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that you can make sure that users have to go through the security question answers apart from their Windows logon password and any of the other authenticators, because here we're talking about multi-factor authentication. This is not the two-factor authentication, this is multi-factor authentication. So you can ensure that, or you can enforce certain authenticators which you are comfortable with in your organization to make sure that the user has to authenticate or verify their identity through a particular method in order to go ahead and go ahead with the password reset operation. So what I've done here is customized multi-factor authenticators based on self-service policies. And what I'm going to do now and try and see if that works. So I'm going to try and log in as Sharada, who belongs to admin. And under the enrollment tab, the method that has been checked in for the user Sharda is verification code. I can also choose to give in my other email addresses. So yes, I can choose which method I would like, which email address I would like to receive the verification code to. I am going to quickly jump and log in as Adam and see which method is being enabled for Adam. So Adam belongs to HR, obviously, because Adam has been enabled to authenticate his identity via the security question answers, and we have already enrolled Adam with the security question answer. And let's try and log in as a user who belongs to finance. Let me pick a user. Let's take Andy. So let's see what are the authentication method that Andy needs to require to. Andy obviously has a password that is expired. I am going to quickly update Andy's password and continue to access his ADSelfService Plus portal. And here for Andy, you can see the security question answer has been enabled as well as the Google Authenticator. So a stepwise instruction is available. Install the Google Authenticator, open the app, add an account, scan the barcode, enter the code generated by the authenticator to enroll. So this is for enrollment, and the same procedure happens when a user goes through a password reset as well. So by customizing enrollment multi-factor authenticators for users specific to OUs and groups, you can also enforce certain authenticators on users. By this, you can ensure that the security of your organization is not compromised, because we are focusing on strengthening the password reset process as well. We are trying to ensure that the right user has access to the account, the right user is going through a password reset operation, and there is no breach, there is no security threat, there is no misuse of user's identity. All right, jumping back, we saw how to set up organizational unit and group-based policies. We created self-service policies in ADSelfService Plus based on user roles, yes, admin, finance, and HR. And talking about getting alerts about the end user's password self-service actions by configuring email notifications and keeping track of end user's password self-service actions using built-in reports. So I'm sure you already have an idea about the built-in reports, because we were simultaneously jumping between the configuration and reports tab. But what I'm going to show you now is alerting users about the password self-service actions. So under the advanced settings, in each self-service policy is what you find the notification tab. So you can notify users via email about their password reset process. You can notify them about the change password operation. You can notify them via SMS and push notification once the configuration is done, about their enrollment, their self-update, and you can also keep the administrator notified about the user self-service action. So thereby the administrator receives an email notification every time a user goes through a self-service operation. All right, so I'm going to quickly try and show you a change password operation for the users belonging to the self-service policy admin. I'm going to click OK. All right, the policy has been updated for users belonging to admin. Let me quickly log in as Sharada and try to go through a change password operation once again. And hit change password. Redoing the process. Looks like I've given the wrong old password. Yes, my password has been changed successfully. I'm going to quickly check if I have been notified. Yes, password change acknowledgement. You have successfully changed your password from your Active Directory account through ADSelfService Plus. So this way, the user also has a track of what is happening, what action, password self-service action he has done, and in case of a security breach or a user identity breach or misuse, the user is immediately notified so that the right action can be taken well in advance. And yes, that is how you can alert users about their password self-service actions. So what I'm going to do now is jump to the admin portal, to the reports tab, and check if this change has been audited. I am going to generate a report again. Yes, 2 attempts have been made with details. So you can check that the time is the same, but here the status is a failure because the password was not correct, and then a success attempt. So this will also help you analyze what's going on in your environment with respect to the number of failed attempts. You can filter it right here. So on multiple failed logon attempts or multiple failed password changes or reset attempts, you know that something is fishy and you can take the right step well in advance. All right, so that is about password self-service and empowering users about password self-service. I'm also going to quickly jump to the soon to expire password users report and generate the report once again to show you that Adam is not in the list. Adam's password has been updated, and under password expired users, I am sure Shada is not in the list, and Andy is also not in the list. Andy's expired password was also changed. So yes, that is the advantage of empowering users to their own password self-service. It is extremely simple, easy to deploy, and you can get started within 10 minutes of deploying ADSelfService Plus and get complete insight into what is going on in your environment, in your Windows environment with respect to passwords. So the reason why I am in the enroll users report is to show you that we have 122 non-enrolled users. And it's practically not possible to inform each and every user to enroll with ADSelfService Plus. So what we're going to do is look for answers, look for methods by which we can ensure that users enroll with ADSelfService Plus. And what you're looking at the screen is different methods of ensuring users enroll with ADSelfService Plus in order to enjoy 100% of the password self-service benefits that ADSelfService Plus provides. And that is what we are going to see in the upcoming session. So we are going to be talking about enrollment notifications, automatically enrolling users, as well as forced enrollment in the next session. So I look forward to seeing you all in the upcoming session as well. Let's have a quick recap of all that we saw today in the Empower Active Directory users with self-service password management session. Before we wind up for today, please keep your questions coming regarding the session. I have a question that reads, do we have an option of SAML integration to achieve single sign-on for various applications? Yes, we do. We support SAML-based single sign-on for 100 plus cloud applications which are pre-configured in ADSelfService Plus. We also allow you to set up a custom SAML single sign-on integration. You can enable single sign-on for your applications, for applications that you use internally in your organization with the help of ADSelfService Plus. We provide a one-click access to more than 100 applications, and we are going to be talking about that in the third session. So yes, that is the session that you're looking for. And the answer to your question is yes, we do support SAML integration to achieve single sign-on for various applications. All right, let's jump to a quick recap. We saw how to empower users to reset their Active Directory passwords. And I'm sure that you can go ahead and download ADSelfService Plus to see if it works well in your organization. You will get a complete insight into the password expired users report as well as the soon to expire password users report as soon as you download ADSelfService Plus and configure your domain for users in your organization. So that will let you know that if you require a solution, a self-service solution, because if not, you are talking about 40% of the help desk calls. You're going to be facing 40% of the help desk calls. All right, so we saw how to empower users to password reset, and we started with a change password operation for Adam, which was very simple, which is also possible from your native Windows environment. So that is not something special, but we saw how to go about with a self-update of information that goes directly into the Active Directory and is updated real time. We also saw how to reset Adam's password after Adam enrolling with ADSelfService Plus, it was simple. Adam chose the domain for which he would like to reset the password, entered the user account, gave in the password, and then, I'm sorry, he obviously didn't give in the password. He chose the username and domain and then was redirected to the multi-factor authentication. And in his case, it was the security question answer and was able to successfully reset his password. So the question here is that how do users go through a password reset process if they have not enrolled with ADSelfService Plus? Simple. You identify the users who have to go through a password reset operation and give them access to the verification code method of authentication. And this is because the verification code does not require manual enrollment from the end user's side. The users will be able to automatically, I'm sorry, ADSelfService Plus will be able to automatically fetch the user's email address and mobile number right from the Active Directory. So that is an enrollment-free authentication or user identity verification method to go through a non-enrolled user password reset process. But we are talking about strengthening the password reset process. So you can enable multiple factors of authentication right from the verification code, RSA, SecurID, Duo Security, Radius Authentication, Google Authenticator, or the ADSelfService Plus mobile app authentication, and ensure that users go through a secure password reset operation. You can enforce a particular authenticator. You can reorder the authentication sequence, the authenticator sequence, and ensure that the password reset process is not compromised. The user's identity is not misused. We also spoke about setting up self-service policies based on OUs and groups present in the Active Directory. This was one of the first steps that we did. We created 3 different policies, that is admin, finance, and HR based on the OUs present in the Active Directory. I created OUs and sorted users into OUs for the workshop purpose, and we sorted them based on self-service policies and ADSelfService Plus. And one major advantage is that you can also customize the multi-factor authentication methods specific to the self-service policies. You can apply granular password policies specific to these policies. You can control access to applications, single sign-on applications. You can notify users specific to self-service policies. So basically, you create self-service policies, you sort users based on OUs and groups present in the Active Directory, and all the features that you work with, all the features that ADSelfService Plus supports can be customized based on the OUs and groups present in your Active Directory. So this is something which is not available in the native setup. The native setup does not allow you to go through different password policies for users specific to OUs and groups. It does not allow self-service action at all. So yes, you can set up and control access or provide access based on OUs and groups present in the Active Directory. All right. So talking about the administrator end of self-service password management, it is important to keep the administrators notified about what is going on in the environment, the Windows environment, and that is why we have user alerts. So you can alert the users as well as the administrators via email or push notification and SMS, and this can be done about the user self-service actions. So if Sharda or Adam or Andy or any user in your organization goes through a password reset process or a self update or is enrolled with a particular method of authentication, the user is notified and the administrator can also be notified about the user's self-service actions. So this just makes the things simple because administrators will be able to keep track of all that is going on in the user's environment. But if you do not wish to be bombarded by emails, because we are talking about organizations with, say, a workforce of 5,000 people, and users go through a password reset process, say every 15 days, that is going to give you 10,000 email in a month. I don't know if I did the math right, but I am sure you don't want so many emails. So you can keep track. A consolidated, in-depth, built-in report is available. An audit report, an enrollment report, as well as a user report is available in the AD Self-Service Plus admin console itself. So you can keep track of all that is happening in your end users password self-service environment right there under the reports tab. So, yes, with that, I have come to the end of today's session. I really hope you learned in detail about empowering users to password self-service. I highly recommend you to get started working with AD Self-Service Plus if you've already downloaded and started using AD Self-Service Plus to get insight into your end users soon to expire password or password expired user accounts, and probably start with allowing a couple of users to go through a password self-service operation. And yes, that is one major advantage of AD Self-Service Plus. And that is all that we discussed today. I'm looking forward to all of you in the upcoming session. We're going to be talking about enrollment, the importance of enrollment, different ways to enroll users, and yes, how by enrolling you can ensure that users have access to all the self-service actions that AD Self-Service Plus provides. So any further questions, you can always drop in a mail to me at sharda@manageengine.com. You can reach me there. You can also contact our support team. We have an amazing bunch of people who help you improve your experience of using AD Self-Service Plus much better. And they know all the tricks and the best practices of using AD Self-Service Plus. So if you have any trouble working with AD Self-Service Plus, you know you should contact the support team. The mail ID is listed right there, support@adselfserviceplus.com. I am also going to take time to answer all your questions today. You can have a quick look at the agenda that is displayed in the workshop, AD Self-Service Plus workshop page, to get an idea of what you can look forward to in the upcoming session. And if you require the video and the resource kit of this particular workshop, please drop in your mail IDs in the questions tab. I will ensure that the video reaches you to help you with self-learning sometime later. So yes, with that said, I am signing off for today. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. Thank you so much for being interactive. The questions were great. I had fun answering them. And I am looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And on that note, thank you once again for taking time away from your busy schedule. This is Sharda, product expert in AD Self-Service Plus from the marketing team of ManageEngine, signing off for today. Have a great day ahead.